Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Hi, this is Daniela with Bestie Life, the podcast, and today I'm with Parisa and Sara from Soulect. They are a conscious group and provide community, focus, and accountability through their Soulect circles and help individuals on their personal development journey. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear about what they do and their work and their circles, because it is just so powerful. So thank you, Parisa and Sara, for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us and trying for a second time.
Yes. We tried an IG live and my internet connection was just wonky as all get out that day. But I love the fact that we just get the chance to keep talking and having the conversation, because I think there is always so much more that comes from these conversations based on, what we hear, what we learn, what we process, and where that brings us to next. But I don't know if you guys want to share a little bit about your own personal development journeys, how you came to create Soulect and what that means to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yes, our journeys we're still very much in it. The journey never ends, but it started with just a really sheer devotion to personal growth. I'll tell my story and then invite Sara to tell hers. But it started when I was a teen. I was very isolated because I felt like I couldn't really relate to my peer group about what I was going through. I was obsessed with Wayne Dyer and reading his books on personal growth because I was just obsessed with this idea that I can actually create myself to be who I want to be. Like, I don't have to go where the wind takes me. I can actually take charge of my life and I can create myself and my life how I want it. And that was the most exciting thing to me, because I was graduating high school soon and I'm now choosing my life. And that time is actually kind of a scary time because the only identity you've ever had is a student, right? And now all of a sudden you're out in the world without nobody's telling you what to do anymore. You're on your own. Mm-hmm. So I was obsessed with personal growth and I really went inward a lot. I kind of isolated myself. I cut off my friends in kind of like a slow way. And I was just very alone. And during this time, I was obsessed with this idea. I became obsessed with this idea that why isn't personal development widely practiced by all of us in our culture? Like, why isn't it something that we all talk about? Why am I like hiding this part of me, like, to myself? And why do I feel so uncool when I talk about it with my friends? And so this desire and dream really struck hard. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to create. I'm going to create a personal development platform. And then that's when Sara comes into the picture, and I would love for her to tell her side.
Before I tell my side, actually, before I continue on with the same story, I want to tell you a little bit of background of what I was going through, because it's important to know how we kind of came together to create this platform. Growing up, I was very social. I was very, very extroverted. I loved being surrounded by people, and kind of fitting in was so important to me. Hanging out with the cool kids was so important to me that I remember a number of times where I would put aside my own values, my own desires, and just kind of go with the crowd just to kind of fit in, just to not be that sore thumb that sticks out. So when I kind of was introduced to the personal development world, which is a very kind of cliche, funny way, actually, it was through the movie Secret for me. And that kind of was the spark for me that all I've been doing in my entire life and calling myself lucky was actually not due to chance. I was actually creating that. So it kind of put a new context for me to understand that, okay, this is what's happening. I'm actually manifesting. I'm actually creating my life with my thoughts. And it was fascinating. I always love, having things make sense to me in a different lens. So that was really fascinating for me. And I was kind of reaching out to new people to be able to talk about it. And through these conversations, I got introduced to more things and I got to explore a little bit more about my life and my inner world. But then I also saw kind of this misalignment with my previous relationship and my previous life. Mm-hmm. So I could no longer have these conversations with the friends that I was originally hanging out with. And I was traveling a lot as well. So I was meeting new people and I was able to tell who were going to be the people that I now align with and the people that I no longer relate to. So that was really, really cool. And I feel like I was kind of dabbling into it. It was just kind of like I was approaching it from a place of curiosity. So I was just having these conversations, but I wasn't really fully pursuing it and committed to it. But when I was 27, I actually, at this point, I'd been traveling for about 7 years on and off, living abroad for about 5 years of it. And it got to the point that I kind of almost ran out of countries that I wanted to live in. And I was like, okay, I got to go home and start something. And it was that point in my life where I looked around and I was like, wow, I feel like I've traveled all the places that I've wanted to. I've done everything I wanted to, but I was still very unfulfilled. Right. It just felt like there was something missing. And, the only way that I can explain it, and it sounds really cheesy, but it just felt like I had achieved everything I wanted on the outside world, but there was something missing. And I was like, well, if it's not out here, then it must be somewhere else. So I had to look inwards. And I just became really, really devoted. And I cut out absolutely everything around me. And cutting out, my social group was really a huge impact. But I just was so devoted. I said, I need to kind of reach in and go inwards and see what I need to discover. And that's around the same time that Parisa got in touch. And she said, we were talking every day, but all of a sudden she was like, I've had this vision that I'm going to have a personal development platform. It's going to be as big as Facebook, and personal development is going to be cool. People are going to be talking about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. And let me tell you what I need, because I feel like I would be like your customer number one. So we were just going back and forth a lot. And I was telling her, I was like, it needs to be social. Like why is personal development such a lonely journey? Why do you have to do it on your own? It makes no sense. You need people around you.
Keep going.
Sorry. I was just going to say the rest is history.
I was going to say, I love what both of you said on so many different levels, from the part, Parisa, where you talked about how, for so many different situations, we get defined by, we're a student, we're a mom, we're a coworker, we're an employee, we have all these like labels, but that never necessarily defines who we are, but we kind of pack ourselves into that. And without that label, like you said, you're kind of like, well, now what am I? Who am I? And what do I do? And then Sara, I love how you said too, like we look for so many external sources of fulfillment and validation and all of that. And, the fact that you personally experienced meeting all those external kind of, checkoffs and boxes and things like that, and going, okay, there's more to it than that it is something inward. And I think if nothing else from the last, 2 years of COVID and what people have been going through, they lost their identities from their jobs and from outside of the home and outside of themselves. And it is something I keep hearing so much more about, as far as, women and people going, I need something else. They're looking for that fulfillment. They're looking for what they're aligned to and what fills them up. And so I love this community as an opportunity to really help kind of meet that need that people are now recognizing is so much more important than those other things they thought would make them happy. Is that some of what you're seeing in your groups?
Absolutely. That was because I was actually one of those people who thought, no, I don't need community. I'm good on my own. I don't need anyone. I'm good. That was like my outlook on life. And honestly, had it not been for Sarah, I'm not sure that I would create something this social. Like I was thinking of something like one-on-one, like accountability partner type of thing. And then Sarah was like, no, it needs to be like a social thing. And now that I'm in it, like having to be in it because I'm a co-founder at the very beginning, like, I had to actually be in it. And it totally just shifted my whole perception and just my whole growth, because now I'm with this family who I call, just great, like lifetime soulful friends from all over the world who have just helped kind of shape everything that I feel within. And there's so much more fulfillment. And just today, actually, in my circle this morning, one of the members spoke about exactly what you just said, or the question that you asked. Like there's just fulfillment that we get just from being in each other's journeys and getting to support each other and uplift each other through the dark times, through the good times, through all of it. And just knowing that we're there for each other. And every week we meet at the same time, and we know that we're going to be hearing about what's going on in each other's lives, and to really just hold that space and help each other evolve. Yeah, it's so fulfilling and so impactful. And it has changed my personal view on, like now I'm like, okay, fine, I'll accept that I'm a social being and that I actually need other people.
And I love that you said that you are the transformed person, because I think people think personal development, they think it's got to be on their own, all about them. I got to get my own books. I got to do all the work on their own, not realizing even though you're doing a lot of the inward work on your own, that outside support is so important in yourself. As you said, we do need each other through the good and the bad to go through all of that. So I love, that you're, for the people who are maybe hearing this and questioning, like, is a community really the right fit, or should I be doing it on my own? This is someone who went from totally thinking it was on their own to founding the whole community. So I love that part of it. So now that you're in the community and you've met all these people and whatnot, has it changed kind of your own personal direction in your journey for either one of you?
100%. Well, Parisa kind of went over her example, but I just wanted to tell you guys a little story about how long it actually took Parisa to join the circle, because she's right. Like she's just been doing amazing on her own with her personal development from the beginning. And we were actually running pilots, and I was super excited. I was like, woohoo, yeah, like we get to actually do this. And Parisa was kind of watching from afar. And then finally in our soft launch, it was like, we needed members. I was like, you got to step into a circle. And she's kind of like dibbly dabbly with it. And then now seeing her speak about it like this is just so, I love it. It's so cute. So she's just like, I have my own family.
That's fantastic.
For me, the way it shifted my personal development is that it brought a lot of ease into it. I used to be the kind of person that treated personal development like it was a university course. I was like so devoted to it, like putting in all these hours, getting, and whatever I read, I would try to implement right away. So I'd be like, okay, like this person is saying you got to wake up at 4 a.m. and go for a run. Okay, setting my alarm for 4 a.m., going for a run, coming back, it's still dark out. And then like this person's saying sit down and meditate. So I'm following all these things that people on the outside are telling me to do, and it's worked for them, and did not necessarily have the awareness that just because it works for them doesn't mean it's going to work for me. And then what my circle has done through this unconditional love and support, and through celebrating me during the times that I can't for myself, has taught me that, like, you know what, actually, I'm the person that knows best. And if my body is telling me that I need to rest this morning, then that's what I need to do. And that is the best thing to do for me right now. And not having any guilt or judgment around it, that's been the biggest shift for me. It's just creating change from a place of love and flow rather than kind of resistance.
Yeah, no, I love that you did talk about that, because again, so many people, they take on others' expectations of what a good mom looks like, what a good coworker looks like, what it means to be a good friend. And they put their own needs aside and they don't listen to themselves, because they think, well, I need to say yes to everything. I need to cook meals a day. I need to do all these different things. And I like how you found through your journey that you were able to, listen to your own intuition and trust your gut, because I don't think we do that enough. And I don't know if that's something where subconsciously taught not to do or how that happens, but it seems to be a common thread that I hear so often, and to not trust our gut and then feel guilt when we do try and listen to ourselves because it's so opposed to, those outside expectations. I love that. That's just one of, I'm sure, the many, many benefits of this personal development journey, and how you're helping people find their own internal alignment and paths and things like that. Is that some of the transformation that you hear from many of the people in the circle?
Everyone's so different. I think that was it mainly for me. Parisa, I'm curious to hear your story about what like the difference was for you. But I think because Parisa and I are so different, we have a lot of people that relate to me, and then the other half kind of relating to her, from like, oh, the circle allowed me to open up and like, trust others with that they understand my inner world. And then the others being like, it's just being able to relate to people. It's so beautiful for me personally, not feeling like I'm the only one feeling what I'm feeling. That's a very isolating feeling for me. And when it comes to anything, not just personal development, I've always liked talking about my experience of life and being able to connect to people based on that.
It is very, very different for every person. And again, just today in my circle, we were talking about, because one of the members came and she was totally overwhelmed and was like, I don't feel like I can do the inner work, because we don't just gather and just talk. We actually gather for a purpose to consciously create our lives. So there's inner work every week. And she was really overwhelmed. And everybody in the circle was like, listen, this space, we just had to remind her, all of us, that like this space is for you to use how you need it. And if the inner work is not in alignment with your life right now, like forget about it. Just show up in the space. And so she uses it barely does the inner work. Same with another member. She just uses it just to come and gather and process her experiences. Another member uses it for accountability. For me, the impact that it has is that it's no longer, my personal development is no longer this private secret thing that I don't tell anybody about what I'm working on. It's real because I'm speaking it, I'm putting it out. Like I'm saying, I am becoming a luminous person. For me, that means like just confident, just loving all of myself. And it's no longer just this private thing that I'm journaling about in my room. It's real, it's talked about. So it makes it so much more impactful in my everyday, day-to-day life, because we actually create our life with our word and with our actions. And the circle helps bring that. But yeah, that was a really good question, Daniela, because every person, every member that now I'm reflecting on in every circle that I've been in uses it differently. Like one member only uses it for self-reflection, and then another member uses it for mainly accountability. And yeah, it's kind of however it fits that person.
Which is great, because I think it makes it just so much more approachable to know it's not one size, it's whatever you need it to be, and that there's so many different ways to approach it. What would you say is something that still kind of stresses you out? I know this is kind of an area of Zen and calm and peace and everything like that, but to just kind of show, like there's still things possibly that still stress you out, would you say?
Yes.
What are some of those kind of things?
Isn't it life? Like as long as you're alive, you're probably going to have some stress in your life. But I would say for me right now, what I'm dealing with is, first time business owners, right? Like first time business owners trying to navigate all that you have to do, but having a very small team and just not knowing what is priority, what is not. And then having the pressure of society that's like, you're not successful until X. You're not successful if you don't X. Like, it's just like all of that. And really being able to separate myself and to separate myself from what other people are telling me, and just to sit back and say, nope, I'm on the right path. It's really been a practice. I'm on the right path and I don't need to do what they're telling me to do, and everything will pan out the way it needs to. But to answer your question succinctly, yes, life stresses me out.
Yeah, putting those blinders up and pushing that noise away, to just listen to your own voice can be very, very hard, and it is definitely a practice. So I love that you share that. How about you, Sarah? Anything that you would say still kind of stresses you out?
Like in general or in
business? Just as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot.
Because I think in this field, whether it's self-care or personal development, people think, oh, you've got it all figured out. Your life's all together. And I'm like, no, I still have my messy moments. I know we were sharing a little bit before we started recording, like life happens and there's things that, whether it's with family or yourself, that you're still managing and dealing with.
Oh, for sure. I think I'm probably quote unquote stressed just the same amount of times that I was before, but the difference of it is that now I'm aware of it. So rather than sticking myself to that label of like, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm actually observing, oh, there's feelings of anxiety and overwhelm and stress coming up. Oh, and I wonder what that's attached to. And what must I believe in order for me to actually experience these feelings? So it's what I like about this new kind of chapter of my life is that I'm no longer attached to my emotions. I observe them and I'm able to label them and kind of create that distance between me and them. And they're just kind of things that come up and move on. And they can come up with anything. I was going to share an example, but it's just not really related. It's not relevant. It's okay. Yeah.
But that's just, I love how powerful that awareness is, and that you say, yeah, life still stresses you out, but you're not carrying it with you in the same way. And that it just gives you that different space and distance and perspective to manage it in such a way. So I think that's just so relatable, because I think people think, oh, my life has too many things to not have stress is unrealistic. And that's not the whole point. You have stress, but it doesn't affect you in the same way anymore. So I like kind of shedding that light on personal development in a different way, because I think people sometimes have just thoughts about it or stereotypes, and showing just how connected it is to what they're already dealing with and experiencing in their day-to-day life makes it that much more approachable. So thank you for sharing that part. So what would you say are kind of the things you're the most grateful for? I know self-care, gratitude is a big part of that practice. I think it's like your own personal self-care to be able to focus on what's good, what's going well. What would you say, especially based on the journey you've been on, has reshaped your thoughts about gratitude?
Yeah, we're big on gratitude. We start every single call with gratitude. Right now, the biggest gratitude, I think, number one, my relationship with Sara, my sister. It's been wonderful. We've faced some challenges, major challenges, being sisters and also business partners. And we've just been intentionally working on it. And it's been so lovely to see it evolve. And secondly, I'm so grateful for just where I'm at in life. The other day, we had a podcast interview where the host asked me kind of like, what would that 17-year-old girl who wanted to start her personal, or like who wanted to create her dream life and wanted to create this life for herself, what would she think of you now? And I was like, wow, it was such an impactful question, because it made me think like I really am everything that I've wanted to become. I've created myself to be everything that I wanted to become. And that was such a moment of deep, deep gratitude. Those are my,
That's great. I love that, these questions help you see things that you didn't even realize you had truly manifested and achieved in your life. So that's great. How about you, Sara?
I love that question. Thank you for asking it. I'm grateful for a lot, but the number one thing that's always at the very forefront of my gratitude list is actually just where Soulect is today. A year, 2 years ago, before we knew what Soulect would even look like, before there was even a name or anything, I was feeling really, really lonely. I was feeling really isolated. I had made a conscious decision to put the relationships in my life that no longer served me to the side, to make space for better and more valuable relationships. And it was hard because as a social person who goes out a lot, I just was getting to the point where it was becoming too hard to like continue with it, keep going with it. Parisa was my only like outlet, and she's very introverted. And I just felt like a lot of time I was like, I'm just too much for her. I need other outlets of socializing. And to now look around and just feel so connected to my Soulect circle. I'm actually part of 2 circles right now. So I have access to like 8 new people from all over the world who I can just pick up the phone and talk to them, and some of them are actually in Vancouver. Some of them are my friends who decided to join, and because of our connection to Soulect and our circle, our friendship just flourished and become to this new connection we never thought we could have. And I just feel so supported by my circle inside and outside of Soulect right now. That's always one of the very, very top of my gratitude list.
That's great. I love it. So where can people find Soulect and connect and be part of these circles and community and things like that?
The best place to go is actually our website. That's soulect.co, spelled soul, SOULECT.co. And from there, you can also find our Instagram. Our Instagram handle is just mysoulect. And the best way, actually, we invite people. We invite anyone who's even slightly curious about it to join our open circles. Our open circles is just a way for you to get acquainted with kind of what we do. It's a 2-hour call, completely free, to whoever's interested in just getting into a space where you can feel that unconditional love, feel the support to practice being vulnerable. And it's fascinating because even for us, it was like, can the first call have the same energy as the second and the third, or if you've been a part of a circle for a while? And it's fascinating to observe when a group of strangers come together for the purpose of growth, for the purpose of, we're here to be vulnerable, and we're here to be seen and see others. And it's really beautiful, and it's magical to see people come together and experience what they do. So I highly encourage whoever's curious to come and test it out.
Yes, all the links will be in the show notes as well. Definitely go check out one of the open circles. I think I definitely plan to as well, because it just sounds like such an amazing experience to have that acceptance and community, to be able to be on that personal development journey, because it can be, I think, intimidating and scary a little bit if you haven't done that kind of work before. And you guys just create such a comforting, calm, and safe environment. I know we've spoken a couple of times, and I just love just that peace that you guys exude and share, and you just kind of make it all seem like it's okay, so definitely check them out. Go visit Soulect. Thank you so much, Parisa and Sara, for joining me today. I love getting to connect with you guys and look forward to future conversations for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniela. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger, as well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much, and talk to you soon. Bye.